Hey everyone, welcome back. In this part, we'll see about the part 2 of the root cause investigation. We'll see more about CAPA, which is the final part of the root cause investigation. To give you a quick brief of what we have gone through, we have gone through the methodology and framework on root cause investigation. So in this part, we'll see about solve and sustain, which involves improve and control phase of the DMAC methodology. So once after we found out the root cause, we try to assess the impact of the risk from that root causes, and based on that we'll assign the CAPA. In the sustain phase, we try to evaluate the effectiveness of the CAPA, which we framed for this root cause investigation, and then we do good ground reporting. So in this session, we'll see about what is CAPA, how do we do effectiveness of the CAPA, and good ground reporting, what needs to be in that to make ground reporting a very good one. So we all know CAPA stands for Corrective and Preventive Action, but let's just dive in and demystify the corrective and preventive action. So corrective action is to make sure it does not happen again. So once after we found out the root cause, we do the corrective action to completely eliminate the actual root cause which was happened, which was the result of that deviation. And in the preventive action, we try to stop it from occurring again. So we know what was happened, what was the root cause. We will do a corrective action to prevent that root cause at that instance, and then we'll develop a preventive actions to stop it from occurring in the future. So in simple terms, corrective is equal to fix what went wrong, and preventive is equal to make sure it never happens again. So we need to make sure when we defining a CAPA, we should clearly describe the root cause or the contributing factor, which is very important, and then the purpose and the scope of that CAPA, who is responsible, and the completion date. So these four is need to be mandate on a good CAPA report. So one key tip is assign retraining only when the issue truly comes from a knowledge or a skill gap. Not everything needs a retraining. So the basic point behind that is you invest so much time when you try to do a retraining. So as we found in the fishbone diagram, so it happens if it is because of a knowledge or skill gap, you need a retraining. But if it is a part of a validation problem or a raw material or a supplier issue, you don't need a retraining. So once after we done the CAPA, we need to define what's the solution from the CAPA. So we'll come up with so many different answers for the CAPA during the brainstorming session. We'll come up with so many corrective actions, so many preventive actions, but how do we decide which one we are going to adapt as the first stand approach? So every good CAPA begins with consensus, right? All the stakeholders, including the CAPA owners, should agree on the action on the outcome, which is true, because when we develop a CAPA, we come up with so many different results, but we need to stand up with the one which is more accurate, reliable at that time point. So one of the most interesting tool which we use is a solution selection matrix to document possible CAPA under consideration. So what is this tool? So I have attached a screenshot. I need to give the credits. It's someone from a consulting company has developed a good solution selection matrix. So in that solution selection matrix, we try to compare different options based on the timeline of the CAPA, the resources needed for the CAPA, and the feasibility which can be performed. So justify why the selected one solution over the other. So you can justify using different combinations. You can give a ranking, you can do a priority. So but one of the important thing is you need to keep a record for the future effectiveness of the check, so you can come back and review it later. So basically in the matrix we assign a total score to each proposed solutions, and then from that proposed solutions and the total score, we do actions marked as selected, not selected, and rejected based on their practicality and risk level. So I'll give you a quick summary. So we do the CAPA, we do the corrective and preventive action to stop it from the occurring. So once after we do the CAPA, the next step is we develop a solutions, but that solution is based on a prioritization or a solution selection matrix. You can do anything, so anything, any famous tools you can use for a solution. You can use a solution selection matrix, a puff matrix, etc. And then soon after you develop the CAPA, right, you need to do the risk impact assessment of that CAPA. Why do we need to do a risk impact assessment? So we develop a corrective and preventive action based on the brainstorming and the root causes which we found out, and soon after we develop the corrective and preventive actions, we found out which one needs to be the first priority. But does it has any risk which is not happened before? Is it coming to give you a new risk, or is it has any risk which is connected or interconnected with the other ones? So one of the widely known risk evaluation tool is FMEA, which stands for failure mode effect analysis. So FMEA is also developed through a brainstorming session. So when you propose action or a solution, you try to evaluate the severity or the impact from that new action, and the occurrence and the failure of that action in the future, and then the detectability. So you try to rank all this, so you try to multiply all this, and you get a total score, and you try to rank based on the likelihood scores and the acceptance of the stakeholders, and you document all this. And FMEA risk register is one of the most important tool when you try to bring a solution thing, because whenever something goes wrong, you get back to the FMEA and check, oh, what is the risk. When you try to do a new product development, you try to go back and see, oh, what was the previous risk, do we need to change anything? So if this action comes in, is it going to be a complicated or a problematic thing for any previous thing? So FMEA is the next important one you need to do after a solution selection matrix. So this is the most important one. So once CAPA is implemented, the work isn't over. That's only halfway through. The rest important way is finding the effectiveness of the CAPA. We must verify it. So to verify that, we need to ask ourselves 4 key questions. So was the effectiveness check appropriate? If not, you need to redefine the effectiveness, because you need to go back, change the FMEA and change the solution selection matrix, because the action is not really effective. If And how do you find the action is not effective? If you find the root cause is occurring again, which means it's not being eliminated, it's not the actual root cause, so you go back. And then the second one is, was the CAPA implemented as intended? Because trust me, many times it can go wrong, uh, because you write something on the paper and the way it is being communicated and the way it is being implemented is completely different. So if not implemented correctly. And then the third important question you need to ask, was the CAPA sufficient to eliminate the root cause? As I said before, the first one, if we found out the action is keep on occurring again, which means the CAPA is not really sufficient to develop, it's not sufficient to eliminate the root cause. So what we do is develop a new one. Yes. And could the root cause itself be wrong? If yes, reinvestigate. So this is the whole framework and methodology to find the effectiveness of the CAPA. Remember, the goal here isn't to close the CAPA fast, it is to close them really right. So every CAPA must create a measurable improvement, not just a documentation. So we are here at the final part of the root cause investigation. So all these things will end up with a good report writing. As I said before, good report writing falls under a good documentation practice, which needs to be on an ALCOA principle. But the purpose of the good report writing is to be understandable even after years later by someone who wasn't involved. When he checks it, he needs to understand, oh, this was happened before and this has been implemented. It doesn't need to have a jargon which was understood only by a certain team. It needs to have all proper SOP insisted process and the flows. And you need to evaluate the event from a system and a process perspective, not from an individual perspective, and identify what other areas could be impacted. As I said before, the FMEA does the part, but you need to mention that on the good report writing. It needs to be fact based, timely and objective. So when you look after the first part, I would have suggested you saying, oh, the statement needs to be in the smart way, which is specific, measurable, achievable, timeline, and uh, SMA relevant and the timeline, sorry. So when you do the problem statement like that, and when you finish off the CAPA, you can go back and check, oh, is it all ticking all the boxes of the SMART objective? If it does so, you need to state that on the good report writing, saying, oh, it has all been done properly. So you need to undergo an independent or external review for a quality assurance, which is a must one. So in short, CAPA report is not just a paperwork, it's an organization memory, because as I said, every time it involves time, resource, it involves people's power, it involves reputation, product reputation, service reputation, etc. So write it as if someone will use it to prevent the next crisis. It is going to help your business in a long term way. So that's why we put that in the sustain phase, as we all know. So that's the CAPA for you, from identifying the root cause to documenting a sustainable action, which is under the rapid root cause investigation. I think it's really helpful to you. Remember, the goal of the CAPA isn't to fix people, it is to fix the broken system from the system perspective and the process perspective. So thank you for watching this video. I'll see you soon in the next session with a good quality tool. So we will dive into effectiveness review and audit readiness if you guys really like the video. Thank you.